All right, let's jump right in. Today, we are breaking down a really powerful system for teaching yourself, well, pretty much anything you want to learn, and doing it way faster and deeper than you ever thought possible. This quote just hits different, doesn't it? I mean, think about it. We spend all those years being fed facts and formulas, but almost nobody ever stops to teach us how to actually learn in the first place. And that kind of leads to the big question, right? If you're trying to get ahead in your career or just pick up a new hobby, how in the world are you supposed to master new skills when there's no teacher to guide you? Well, that is exactly what we're going to unpack right now. We're going to give you the system, the exact framework that some of the most effective self learners out there use. And look, this has nothing to do with being a genius, it's all about having the right system. And seriously, the best part? It honestly doesn't matter if you are a straight A student or if you barely passed. This system works for anyone because it's built on how our brains are actually wired to remember stuff. Okay, so before we get into the how, let's just take a second to get on the same page. What are we even talking about when we say self-teaching? What does that really mean? The fancy term for it is autodidacticism. But forget the word for a sec. I want you to laser focus on those last few words. Builds mastery through deliberate practice. That's the secret sauce right there. This isn't just about passively reading a book. It's about active, focused, deliberate effort. So how do we do that? How do we actually practice deliberately? Well, that brings us to the heart of this whole thing. A really simple but incredibly powerful 3-step system that you can start using today. Here is the whole shebang. It's just 3 steps. 1. Build a knowledge map. 2. Teach it back. And 3. Use active recall cycles. Let's break down what each of these really means. So, step 1 is all about getting the lay of the land. You wouldn't just start driving across the country without looking at a map, right? Same idea here. Before you dive into all the little details, you need to sketch out the main concepts. What are the big ideas? How do they all fit together? This map gives you a mental framework to hang all the new information on. Now for step 2. Oh man, this is such a good retention trick. As soon as you learn something new, you need to try to explain it out loud in your own words. Seriously, explain it to a friend, your cat, the wall, it doesn't matter. The act of teaching forces your brain to simplify and connect the dots, and it instantly shows you where the holes in your understanding are. And that brings us to step 3, the one that really cements things in your long-term memory. See, most of us just do what's on the left here, passive review. We reread our notes, we highlight stuff, and it feels productive, but it's not. What we need is what's on the right, active recall. You have to force your brain to pull that information out of storage. Think of active recall as just smart repetition. It's not about mindlessly going over the same thing again and again. It's about actively quizzing yourself. And the key is to do it in spaced intervals. You test yourself on the tricky stuff more often and the easy stuff less often. That process is literally what builds those strong connections in your brain for long-term memory. Okay, that's the system in theory. It sounds good, right? But now let's make it super practical. Let's see how this actually works with some real-world skills you might want to learn. This table just makes it so clear. Check it out. If you're learning to code, your knowledge map is the big concepts, like variables and loops. You teach it back by trying to explain a chunk of code to a friend, and your active recall is using flashcards for syntax. Same for learning a language, right? Map the grammar, have a conversation, and quiz yourself on verbs. It's the same universal pattern no matter the skill. So, look, here's the most important takeaway from all of this. Getting the system down isn't just about learning a cool new trick. It's actually about changing how you see yourself. It's about shifting your identity as a learner. I really want this idea to sink in. If you have ever felt stuck trying to learn something, or if you just told yourself, I'm bad at this, it was never about you. You weren't broken. You just never got the instruction manual for your own brain. You were missing the system. So, now you have the system. And to help you put this into action, like right away, I've put together a super simple one-page cheat sheet.